Hey everybody, and welcome back to UE5 BP Guru. Today I'm going to be looking at the ladder tutorial. If you've watched the tutorial released literally a few hours ago, I apologize. It's a terrible tutorial. It will be deleted by now, and I'm going to cover the first half today. Now, it's going to be a bad tutorial either way, even though I'm remaking it, because I'm just going to cover how I got to this point. I'm not going to do it from scratch, but I will cover everything, okay? Now, before we go into, I very quickly want to explain that this whole thing's been a complete and utter nightmare. It's not something I've previously covered myself. And because of that reason, I'm using other people's information and trying to piece everything together to get it working correctly. Because I'll be honest, no one does this correctly. I don't care what tutorial you follow. I'm not going to name any of them either, but I don't care what tutorial you cover. They are not simple, or they miss something out. They're just all round very bad at doing this. Or they only cover something very specific, and they don't cover every aspect of getting on and off a ladder to getting back on the top end, for example. Somebody misses something. So I'm trying to piece all this together in a certain way. Now, so this is what I've managed to get so far. You jump on the ladder, you climb up, you hit this point. Now, this should play an animation, and then it should put you at the top, basically, right? This is what it should do. Now, the reason the animation is broken, that's not because of the code, it's because of the animation. I can't, for some reason, although I've put off Mixamo shows you it climbing up and getting out, it does not convert that way into UE5. Okay, it works like any of our other ones where the motion is kept in place, but obviously we don't want that. We want it to basically play the animation so it climbs up and then comes off, and then we set a world location to where I'm stood now. So the actual ladder functionality itself works, it's just the animation is basically broken. You can notice as well I fixed this. If you watched my tutorial from a few hours ago, you would already know this, but I will re-explain everything. So let's, without further ado, let's get on with it. So, to fix our aim set animation, the first thing we want to do is, now I reset mine up like this, so I didn't actually change much, but I put the locomotion into the loco cache. I've put the loco cache through and set the upper slot default. This is all the same, and into the montage cache. I've renamed that, by the way, if you're wondering what the hell's that. So the montage cache runs as it should do normally, but as you notice, there's no blend per bone here anymore. It's down here. I've re-blended the loco cache with our new montage cache after the anim rotation, and set the alpha value in here, okay, and obviously still in here. Then set that into a new cache called aim offset cache, and then they both get blended per bone in here instead. It should make it a little bit smoother. I need to fix camera. I know you probably all noticed that. I do still need to fix camera, but this should also change things when you're not holding a weapon. And to do that, finalize that, in here I've created a new boolean that is set via our pistol active and our rifle active. It just checks those. We're still setting them here, but you're just adding those into an OR boolean, and you can add any weapon you add for extra activities, whatever, into this weapon set, this new boolean that's set in here, okay? And then out off this branch, after we've set those weapons, we do a branch to check if they're active. If they are, we set our alpha to 1. If they're not active, we set the alpha to 0. And that will help affect our aim offset, okay? That's our footstep tutorial. What am I doing there? Okay, so that fixes all that, right? So you should have this effect now where if you're playing, okay, you're only looking around with your head, your body's not moving with it, and then it does when you're holding your weapon, okay? Alright, it should do this now. I know the camera's a bit broken, I need to fix that, but yeah. What the hell happened there? Excuse me, I'm still very ill. So yeah, so that's how we got to that point. Next, what I did was, now again, I'm pulling all this information from totally different tutorials, so please bear with me. Now, all the animations, I will go into this first, all the animations have come from a pack called Soul-like Ladder, or something like that it's called. It's on the marketplace. It's about £14 at the moment. Bit pricey. The animations aren't the best. It was probably not the best purchase I made, to be honest, but there we go. It is what it is. I'll link it in the description anyway. Then I basically created in here. Nope. Where did I save in here? Nope. Somewhere. I've created. Oh gosh, where have I done it? Oh, it might be in the ladder. Let's go to my assets. Ladder trial. There it is. I created a new BPI called Climb Ladder. We set this new function called Set Ladder, and in it we put our ladder 3, which is the third ladder blueprint I've set up to try and get this working. So I'm working off of our third type of ladder. I should have mentioned that, but yeah, we've set a new ladder and we've added this in, and it's just the ladder BP in there, okay? And that's just as an exit. So save all that and then go into your third person character, go to class settings, and then implement that climb ladder BP here so that we can call our event function. And all I've done is I've promoted that to a variable so that we can use whatever that's set to in our code. Back in the ladder 3, number 3, our third one, Jesus, I've called on event begin play. On component begin overlap, which is our box. We set those two functions, and the self goes into set ladder, and then nothing into the end overlap, so that no ladder is set. Now, to get our box, I forgot I covered this in the tutorial a few hours ago. All I've done is I copied and pasted this, or duplicated it, whatever you want to call it, and called it collision creator. And then I added a collision box to it, to our function, and I plugged that box into that new collision creator macro that is exactly the same as our ladder frame. It's no different. It's just a third one that can add in our box. Okay, you could have probably just used ladder frame. It really wouldn't have made much difference. I've just renamed it for convenience more than anything. Hopefully you guys are all keeping up with me at the moment. So far we've refixed our aim offset. We've set up a new BPI that is climb ladder, which has our actual ladder BP as the input, and then in here all we're doing is from our other actor we're calling that set ladder BPI message. We're adding our self, so a reference to self. You can do that by just dragging off and putting self, and it'll come up with self, reference to self. And then we set nothing in the second one, okay, when we end that overlap. Alright. There's nothing else to do in this ladder at this current time. So once you've done that, now the tutorial I followed, they set this up from the jump. So I set up a couple of booleans when I was testing this. I only ended up using one of them, and that was is on ladder, and we want to call that branch on jump. We want to do an is valid to that reference, the new ladder reference we've got. Okay, I don't know why I've got a new variant transform done there, so ignore that. But we've got our ladder reference. Is valid. If it is valid, we want to set ourselves onto our is on ladder. Okay, we want to set that to is false. Okay, we're not on the ladder. And then is not valid goes back into the jump. Okay, so we can still jump if we're not in range of a ladder. And then we're creating a custom event called grab ladder, and that grab ladder is going into the false. Okay, so I hope you guys are keeping up with me, because this was ridiculously confusing for me. As I said, nobody does this the right way. So hopefully this all works for you guys, and you can at least get to the point where I'm at. So then we set that is on ladder to true. Okay, so because we're stepping onto the ladder now, we're setting our character movement to flying, so that we don't walk forwards, backwards, left and right, things like that. We then want to move our component, which is our capsule component up here, to the location on our ladder. Now this character location, if we go to the viewport, I added in if you add it in, just type in scene, all I've done is I've added a scene component. I've called it character location, and I've worked out where it needs to go. And you can do that so easily just by getting a skeletal mesh, like so. Don't have it added to your character location, for God's sakes, don't do that. Set this to Quinn. Oh, Quinn, like so. And then don't use an animation blueprint, just use a climbing ladder or something like that. Climbing ladder or anything will do. Alright, and just find the correct position you want your character to spawn in. It'll require a bit of playing around. Even when you've set up the scene component, you can still play around with it a little bit. I don't really like that. For some reason, this character leans back when you're doing certain things. Let's just get no, don't like that either. Let's get step idle. That's better. That looks a lot better. There we go. So just position her correctly. Make sure the rotation's correct as well. Just like so. Just move it around. Okay. Get it in the right position. And all you need to do, once you're happy with the position that you're using, just copy this location. Okay. Right click, copy. Okay, and then when your scene component is, you can literally right click and paste it. I'm not going to move mine because mine's in the right position, but just right click and paste. And if it's still not quite correct for you guys, just meddle around with it a bit more, you know. Even when your character skeletal mesh isn't in there, you can still move this around up and down and left, and it'll find the right location. Okay. Once you've done that and you've found where you want your character to sit, go into your third-person character, call your ladder reference. Get your character location, which is that scene component. Get the world transform and plug them both in with your capsule component plugged into there. And what that's doing is every time you're at the bottom of the ladder and you want to get on the ladder, you press your space bar. It puts you onto your character. I'm probably going to change it from space bar, but you put it onto the capsule component location and it'll move it to there. Then we're asking, are we on the ladder? Okay, there's a reason for that later, but are we on our ladder still? Okay, and then if we say yes, we want to play a montage, which is our climbing ladder montage, which you need to create. So whatever your ladder climbing montage is, create an LMBP and plug it into there. You shouldn't need to change much on that, and then you'd be good to go. In on complete, we want to branch, plug that true, create a couple of dots so it looks nice and neat like mine, and fire it back in on itself. And the reason for that is we're checking to see if our get move / backwards is higher than 0. So if it's higher than 0, it'll move and it'll keep doing the animation. If it's not, it'll stop. And then you just want to create a delay and have it keep refiring basically until it's happy. To be honest, I don't think that's low enough. 0.1. So that will get you to the point where you are at least on the ladder. Okay, you're on it. But to get it to move, we need to do a couple of things. Now this is where a lot of tutorials fail. Okay, this is how I got to work. Now I'm going to be the reason I'm running a print string is because that's what I'm using to test to get it to work, doing the animation up and down. I haven't got that far yet. But if we want to go up and have the animation at least play upwards, we want to, now this is our movement input, by the way, guys. Gamepad and mouse movement input. And then what I've done is I've run a branch and I want to just check if we're on the ladder. Now if we're not on the ladder, it's easy peasy. We just whack that straight into the add movement input. And then ignoring the print string because you don't need that, your true would run into another add movement input, which still runs off the same axis information. The only difference is we want to get the player controller, get the actor up vector, and use the Z axis. Okay, just split the structure pin and fire off that Z axis because we don't want to move X and Y. I found that when I just put in the up axis, if I went downwards, it would move backwards for some reason. So just make sure you're only using the Z so that when you're going down, you don't move accidentally backwards in any way. And on your move right left, just add another branch that says is on ladder. If it's true, you don't need to do anything because we don't need to move left, right, or anything like that. And then for false, you just plug that straight into the add movement of that one. That should now at least get you moving up and down. At this point, your character should, in theory, be now repeating this because it's moving, it's above 0, and be playing whatever climbing animation you're playing. Okay, so we should be at a very close position now where you're at least moving up and down. The problem is now is you want to go up to the top and you want to get off the ladder. Now, I found no easy way to do this, of course. Now, there's a very tiny cube there. The reason for that, we just want to do a custom. I don't know, not sure what I've done there. Let's put it back to block or dynamic because it still works technically. Okay, so on your ladder top, add in a cube. Make it really small, it doesn't really matter. I've put it hidden in game anyway, so you won't see it. I think I need to mess around with the collision because I don't know if I can walk into that if I aim it right. But either way, make the cube apparent of the ladder top and just move it. The reason why it needs to be apparent, by the way, guys, is that when we move this height, we want that to move with it. Okay, we don't want it to stay there. Otherwise, we're going to be spawning in walls and all sorts of stuff, or miles in the air. So yeah, so just make sure the cube is apparent, or as child, sorry, of the ladder top, and set that where you want your player to spawn when they're at the top of the ladder. Come back to the third person character. Now we want to get all actors of our class, our ladder 3. This is the only way I could get this to work. If anyone has any other better tips, please let me know in the Discord or in the comments, because I have been pulling my hair out with this for the better part of a week, trying to get this working. So get all actors of class from our ladder 3, perform a get copy, and then pull off of that and get our cube, our reference to our cube. You can call it something different if you want to. I just did it because I worked it out. Set our ladder to false. Play the montage, which is for me it is what's it called? Let me find it and I'll play it. Mine is now this one came from Mixer Mode. I think that's where I'm going wrong. You can see it's playing on the spot, which I don't want it to do. I've tried. If I go to the actual animation, I'll find it in a minute. I've tried setting the root, enable, disabling it, doing all sorts of stuff, but it doesn't seem to want to play ball. But I'm just playing this getting up off the floor animation, or getting up off the ladder for whatever, you know what I mean. So I'm playing that. At the moment it plays on the spot, but what should happen is it should move a little bit further up the ladder and then climb out. Then we're taking that cube and we're getting our world location and getting our world rotation from that cube, and we're setting actor location and rotation to that cube. After that, we're then returning our character, moving back to walking, and we're setting our ladder to nothing, okay? Because there should be nothing set at that point. And that is the basics of it, okay? There should be nothing else. I haven't missed anything as far as I'm aware. You probably noticed on here, on the locomotion, I added this in, but that is literally irrelevant. It doesn't do anything. I can delete it out. So if you saw that and was like, oh, I need to do that, you don't. You don't actually have to do that at all. Yeah, and as I said, just with the aim rotation, obviously set that up. Also, don't forget to do is even that doesn't actually matter anymore because I'm not actually setting the ladder as on here. But excuse me. Yeah, so basically do that for your aim offset, okay? And all you're doing is checking to see if the pistol or the rifle is active, and then if that's the case, set that weapon to true so that it redoes the aim offset. As I said, I've still got to fix the camera, but I'll get there. One thing at a time, right? Hopefully this has been helpful for fixing any ladder issues you have. I still don't understand why that person's tutorial did that, but I'm going to set that probably to interact at some point. Yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. Sorry, there's one other thing. That down here is a custom event called Exit Ladder. To call that, now you saw it on my event tick on here, but no, actually I did it in here. So on the ladder 3, event tick, okay, branch is on ladder from the third person reference. If it's true, okay, we're going to do a second branch check. And what we're doing is we're getting our ladder top, getting that world location. We're getting our actor's location, okay, from there. and we're just doing a minus, so we're taking away our actor location. No, we're getting our ladder world location, taking away our third-person character's actor location, and if it's below 50 on the Z-axis, then we'll play this. Okay, we'll play this exit ladder function from the third-person character. Okay, which is obviously what we just went through here. Okay, so if anyone's looking at that, go, what the hell? That's where that is. Okay, sorry, I forgot to mention that. So hopefully now at this point your character is at least doing this. And I apologise for my earlier tutorial. I rushed it and I didn't think it through. And now that I've done a little bit more work, it's working a lot better than it was. There we go. Okay. Now I just need to work out on. I'm either going to leave it that you can just jump off, because I mean, oh. No, okay, let's go. Alright, we're climbing back up. Alright, whatever. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to do it so that you can just jump off, to be honest. And then I am tempted to do that, and then just have it that we climb up. I just need to fix that blooming animation. Just need to fix that animation, and then we're back to walking and doing all that good stuff. So yeah, so hopefully this has been helpful to you guys in some way or some way. It's been an absolute nightmare, but I got there. I got there with the functionality anyway. I mean, the animations are terrible. Luckily, I'm not making a third-person game because, Jesus, it is. Oh God, it is bad. But yeah, so hopefully this works for you guys. Let me know if there's any issues with what I've shown you today. That is causing me issues, that little hidden cube. So I need to set the collision on there. There you go. So change the collision to probably no collider or something. Yeah, so hopefully this is useful to you guys. And it helps you on your way to making the perfect ladder. But for me, although I am now climbing the ladder and it plays some weird animation and I spawn here, hopefully you guys can improve on it. Let me know if you guys work anything out. I'll be working on it. It's one of those things I just never had to do, and yet somehow now I'm doing it. I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. Most people are, as I said, most people online tutorials are terrible. Mine's no better, definitely, but it is hopefully going to put you in, at least in the right direction to getting it working. So thank you so much, guys. I'll catch you next time. Part 2 will be a little bit down the way for this, but it will cover basically going to the ladder and going down the ladder. Yeah, I hope to do that in the next week or two, but hopefully if you guys need it, let me know and I'll try and do it sooner. Take care, guys. Much love. Bye.